Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Timmy here. I'm gonna start with a beer. I'll just start off by saying that there's some big plans coming up for the Ford diesel truck and the camper. So I'm gonna show you guys what the plans are and get started on them. Welcome to Truck House Lap, baby. So at this point, it's been about 1 year since I've built the camper and put it on the truck. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about how it's holding up, what I would change, and also let you know some sweet new plans that are coming for the truck and the camper. So first off, I'd like to say, let me take a sip of beer. The camper's been holding up awesome. It's been 1 year. I put about 15,000 miles on it. I'd say I put probably 2,000 to 3,000 miles of dirt road driving on this truck. The camper's definitely been exposed to a ton of potholes, trees hitting it, lots of shaking, and just road abuse. Quite honestly, it's held up awesome. The screws haven't backed out of the wood anywhere. The interior of the camper is also holding up really well. Pretty stoked on that. As far as how it's been handling, I love it. It's not too heavy. I don't have all this crazy top sway, so even when I'm on off-road trails, it's pretty solid, honestly. It looks big, but it's pretty light for what it is. I don't think I would change anything about the actual height and width and the overall shell design of it. All right. Excuse me, I'm gonna be enjoying my beer throughout this, I suppose. It's probably a little tough to see up here, but the metal roof, I have been extremely impressed with how that has held up. Like I said, I've had the camper on the truck for a year now. I had all these naysayers saying like, oh, the wind's gonna rip the metal roof off. Like, you don't know what you're doing, it's gonna fall apart. And bro, I've had this thing 70 miles an hour on the highway with strong headwinds, and she's good. So when I installed this metal roof, I put the screws about 6 inches apart versus about 2 feet apart, like a standard house. So that definitely holds the sheet metal down. By having the metal roofing screws 6 inches apart, yeah, there's way more screws going through the roof, which is potential for more leaks, but it hasn't leaked a drop. The interior's been super dry. The captain's varnish waterproofing has held up really awesome. I've got 4 coats on there. It's been about a year, and I mean, you guys can't tell, but water still runs right down the side of it, so it's keeping the wood nice and waterproof. Despite all the abuse I put this camper through already, the walls are still nice and straight on every aspect, nice and straight. And that's probably because I use 2x4s as the main skeleton of the camper. Let's check out the inside and I'll show you guys what I would change in the inside, if anything. If you haven't seen, welcome to my home. So wood does change and conform and flex and bend and expand, contract, all that good stuff. So the door has somehow worked great. It hasn't gotten stuck or been too tight or shifted. I still need to finish the outside, so still super happy with that. Come on inside, come on inside. So here's the interior. I honestly would not change a whole lot about this. It's still been super comfortable. I'm getting snow all over the place. I would change two things about this entire camper. The couches are exactly 6 feet long. Now, I'm exactly 6 feet tall, so that makes it almost too tight to sleep. Not really. It's just slightly annoying feeling the end of the bed with my toes. What I usually do, I'll pull the bed out and I'll just sleep in the center where my feet can just hang out a little bit extra. So I would extend the couches, I'd say 1/2 foot, and that would make it comfortable for most people to sleep. But usually the ladies are under 6 feet tall, so it's no problem. The other thing I would change is I did not do spray foam insulation in the floor. I only did it in the walls and the roof. I don't know why, I didn't know at the time. I can go back and change that, and I probably will. But the floor is like a little colder than it should be because it's not super airtight like the rest of the camper is. The spray foam insulation, the walls and the roof, super airtight. You don't feel any drafts from wind, no matter how windy it is outside. It's super quiet in here and not drafty at all. So that's really nice. But the floor, you definitely feel like just a slight draft down there, and it's not quite as warm. No matter how you insulate your floor, it's always going to be colder because cold air sinks, but I would opt to do spray foam insulation floor this next time. But once again, like once you crank this wood stove and get it going, that warms the place up. So if I did the wood stove again, it's a little bit warm for this camper. It's not really a large wood stove, but it's so well insulated in here that I would probably get a slightly smaller wood stove this next time, probably like the Cubic Mini, even though it's more of a pain to keep going. The Kimberly's just like a little bit much. I'll have to crack like a vent when I get it going. It's pretty warm in here, but that's awesome too. So those are my changes I would do inside. Did I ever show you guys my whiskey bird feeder? I can't remember. Yeah, it's funny. I actually get birds that'll land in this every now and then. What are my new plans for the truck? There's gonna be some major modifications going on. So this truck right here, I know it's nice to keep classics totally classic and keep the body super stock, but we're doing a custom flatbed. My buddy Joe up at Midnight Sun Metalworks is working with me right now to help make a custom flatbed for the truck. I've basically drew out my exact design I wanted him to do because he can definitely weld better than I can. I'm actually going to go up and help him out a little bit, and I'm going to make my actual wood deck, the cedar deck for the flatbed. So I suppose you guys want a little sneak peek at the process. So let's wipe the snow off. Here is the flatbed design. It's going to look kind of similar to this, which I'm pretty stoked about. It's not going to be all squared out. I'm going to have kind of a dovetail design in the back. And on the outside, I'm going to have these two little wings that I can put into place, kind of like that. They'll just click into the side. And what that will allow me to do is pull two snow machines up onto the bed. Almost like little wings. They'll stick out just for loading snow machines. And then when I don't need them, I'll just remove them. That's the plan. So the flatbed is going to be aluminum for a few reasons. Number one, I'm in Alaska, things rust, so I don't want the flatbed rusting. And powder coating doesn't work that great up here. It'll last a little while, a couple years, but then it starts chipping off and then your stuff rusts. So we're gonna do aluminum for the flatbed. And I'm gonna do a wood deck, a cedar deck on top. The reason I wanna do a wood deck is because pulling snow machines up onto it, if the snow machine skis tear up the surface of the bed, I can replace wood pretty easy. Aluminum, not so much. So I wanna make the actual surface of the bed easily changeable. And I think the aluminum and wood will look super sweet with this old classic truck here, so that's the plan. So why do I wanna do a flatbed? Why would you wanna do that to your truck? I've got a few reasons. The number one reason I want to put a flatbed on this thing is storage. By putting a flatbed on, I'm gonna gain about 60 square feet of external storage, which is a lot. So if you guys notice, you can see how far the truck camper is up in there, the wall, and this overhang sticks out a bunch. So basically this bed is taking up all this room, and I could have a 2 foot tall by 1.5 foot deep storage basically all the way down this camper. So I can store like firewood, I can keep generators and gas cans and the jacks for the camper. So the storage is the main reason. The second thing is I want to make it easier to remove the camper from the truck. As you can tell, I built this camper to fit perfectly, and I mean like perfectly, like within a 1/4 inch of the bed of the truck. With a flatbed, I'll just be able to back the truck up under the camper and not worry about hitting the bed walls, essentially. So it'll be easier. My third reason is when I remove the camper, I want to be able to pull snow machines in the back. With the current bed setup, I can only fit one snow machine in the back of the truck, and I have 2 snow machines. A flatbed, since there's no wall to the bed, it allows you to have that extra width to pull 2 sleds in there, so that's cool. The fourth reason is a flatbed is much more useful for just loading construction materials and stuff like that in your truck. I'm gonna be building a cabin next summer, and it's gonna be really nice not to bring a trailer around with me everywhere I go. Just load all the wood in the back of the flatbed. It'll just be easier. The fifth reason is the flatbed I'm building for this, the aluminum is going to be lighter than the steel bed. So it'll just take a little bit of the load off the 7.3 engine up there. And then my sixth reason is because I think the flatbed will just look sweet. I think it's gonna look awesome. I've got a lot of people saying like, oh, don't get rid of your classic truck bed, but I actually have plans for this. Not gonna tell you guys just yet. It's gonna be really sweet, but that bed's not going to waste, I'll put it that way. Those right there are the 6 reasons I'm making a flatbed for the truck. So the flatbed build is starting this coming week, so should be about a month it'll be on the truck, so pretty stoked for it. I'm gonna be going up to Midnight Sun Metalworks in Palmer, Alaska, and hanging out with Joe at kind of the most critical steps of the building process, and just working with him to show him like what I'm going for. He's a fantastic fabricator, but he can't read my mind, so I want to be there to figure out the wood deck part of it because I'm doing that part. So we'll be documenting that so you can see the process. Well, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be going on another adventure soon and probably doing some projects which you'll get to tune into. So there you go. Peace, y'all.